Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and wondered, what happened to my body? When did my skin start to sag? When did my muscles lose their strength? When did that stubborn fat around my belly become so impossible to burn? I used to ask my patients that same question, but one day I found myself asking it in silence, staring at my own reflection. I'm a doctor, but that day I wasn't looking at a professional. I was looking at a man who had forgotten to take care of himself. My face looked tired, my eyes dull, and that layer of fat that hides under your ribs, the visceral fat, had started making a home in me too. I remember running my hand over my stomach and whispering, "You tell others how to live healthy, but what about you?" That question haunted me for weeks. You see, as a doctor, I've spent years treating patients who struggle with weight, premature aging, and fatigue. They come to me with the same frustration. "Doctor, I eat less, I walk daily, but nothing changes." Some even cry when they talk about how their bodies have changed. Their confidence fades, their energy drops, and no diet or workout seems to help. I've seen strong men and women break down because they couldn't recognize themselves anymore. But what if I told you that the real problem wasn't their willpower, but something far deeper inside their cells? It started when I began to study what truly causes visceral fat and skin sagging. Most people think it's just overeating or lack of exercise. But in reality, it's about a silent shift happening within a loss of collagen, a slowdown in protein synthesis, and a hormonal imbalance that steals your body's ability to rebuild itself. When your body stops producing enough collagen and essential amino acids, your skin loses its firmness, your metabolism slows, and your muscles weaken. It's not aging, it's cellular starvation. And that's exactly what I was going through too. One evening, after a long day of seeing patients, I sat in my office alone. I opened an old medical research file I had kept from my postgraduate days. It was about nutritional peptides and their role in skin elasticity and muscle repair. I had ignored it for years, but that night, something pulled me to read it again. It mentioned a unique compound, hydrolyzed collagen peptides, combined with amino acids like glycine, proline, and leucine that can trigger the body's natural repair response. These molecules are small enough to penetrate the bloodstream quickly, feeding the tissues that need recovery the most, your muscles, your skin, and even your visceral fat cells. I remember calling one of my old colleagues, Dr. Mira, a nutrition specialist. "Mira," I said, "you remember that study from Japan about collagen and amino acid synergy?" She laughed. "You're reading that again? That formula actually works if you get the ratios right. Why?" I told her, "Because I think I've found something real, something that can help not just my patients, but maybe me too." She paused and said softly, "Then try it. Don't just read about it." The next morning, I decided to do an experiment on myself. I prepared a simple powder using pharmaceutical-grade collagen peptides mixed with L-glutamine, creatine monohydrate, and a small amount of vitamin C for absorption. No fancy brands, just pure science. I started taking 1 scoop at night before bed. The idea was simple: let the body repair while sleeping, when growth hormone peaks and tissue regeneration is at its maximum. The first few nights, nothing changed. But on the 5th day, I woke up feeling different. My sleep was deeper, my energy higher, my joints felt lighter. Within 2 weeks, I began noticing that my morning face looked less puffy, and the loose skin around my jaw was slightly firmer. My appetite stabilized, the cravings that used to hit me late at night gone. I started feeling something I hadn't felt in years: control over my own body. Of course, I was skeptical. As doctors, we're trained to doubt until proven. So, I decided to test it clinically. I selected 6 of my long-term patients, 3 men, 3 women, all over 45, struggling with the same issues: belly fat, weak muscles, and sagging skin. I asked them to try the same powder for 30 days. No new diets, no workouts, just 1 scoop at night. They trusted me because they'd seen me struggle too. By the 3rd week, one of my patients, a 52-year-old woman named Farzana, came into my office almost crying. "Doctor, I don't know what's happening," she said, "but I feel alive again. My husband said my face looks like it did 10 years ago." She laughed through tears. Another patient, a retired army officer, said, "Doc, I can climb stairs again without feeling my knees giving up. Their reports matched mine. Firmness in skin, strength in muscles, reduction in waist size. And all without any extreme effort. What was happening inside their bodies was remarkable. The amino acids in that powder were not just building muscle, they were triggering collagen production, tightening connective tissue, and reducing inflammation. When collagen fibers strengthen, skin becomes firm. When inflammation drops, visceral fat cells shrink. And when your body starts producing energy efficiently, your metabolism reignites like a dormant fire, finally finding air. That's when I realized this isn't a supplement, it's fuel for restoration. Our bodies are extraordinary machines, but they break down when we don't give them the right building blocks. Think of it like a house losing bricks every day. You can paint the walls, cover the cracks, but if you don't replace the bricks, the house will collapse. Collagen and protein are those bricks. They hold you together from inside out. I began documenting the progress of all 6 patients, including myself, through blood tests, body scans, and skin elasticity scores. After 45 days, the results were undeniable. Skin hydration improved by 32%, muscle mass increased by 8%, visceral fat reduced by an average of 11%. But numbers never tell the full story. What truly mattered was the glow in their faces, the renewed confidence in their voices. They walked differently, lighter, stronger, prouder. And for me, the biggest transformation wasn't physical, it was emotional. I started believing again in the body's power to heal, in science's ability to reverse damage, and in simple consistency over complex solutions. But there's something I need to tell you honestly. It wasn't magic. It wasn't overnight in the literal sense. What happened overnight was recovery, the invisible repair your body does while you sleep, when given the right fuel. Real results came because of patience and trust. One of my younger patients once said, "Doctor, I thought my body was too damaged to fix." I told her, "Your body has never stopped trying. It just needs you to give it the right tools." Now, every night when I prepare my glass of collagen powder, I look at it not as a supplement, but as a reminder. A reminder that aging is not defeat. It's simply your body asking for help. And if you listen closely, it tells you exactly what it needs. One night, while writing my notes, I realized something profound. This powder wasn't just changing bodies, it was changing lives. But I still had questions. Could it work for everyone? Could it help even those with advanced obesity or deep wrinkles? I decided to go deeper to study how this simple powder interacts with cellular metabolism and fat oxidation overnight. That's when I stumbled upon something even more surprising, something that explained why some people see dramatic overnight results, while others take weeks. And that is where the real story begins. Do you know what really happens inside your body when you sleep? We often think of sleep as rest, but it's not rest, it's repair. It's when your body does its most important work silently. But the truth is, most people don't give their bodies the ingredients it needs for that repair to happen. And that's why, even after 8 hours of sleep, they wake up tired, with puffy eyes, loose skin, and bloated stomachs. Sleep alone isn't healing. It's the chemistry within your sleep that heals you. After that first phase of my experiment, I couldn't stop thinking about what was happening inside those patients' bodies overnight. Why did their visceral fat reduce even though they weren't exercising? Why did their skin tighten without creams or surgeries? The answer came to me one night while reading a research paper on amino acid thermogenesis and overnight fat oxidation. It explained that certain amino acids, particularly glycine, arginine, and leucine, have the power to trigger natural growth hormone release during deep sleep. And that hormone, my friends, is the master architect of your body. It burns fat, builds muscle, and rejuvenates skin cells all while you're asleep. I remember leaning back in my chair and whispering, "So that's it. It's not about weight loss. It's about regeneration." That's when everything made sense. The collagen amino formula wasn't just feeding the body, it was activating it. The combination was unlocking the body's dormant ability to repair, just like flipping on a switch that had been off for years. One of my patients, a 8-year-old man named Nadeem, became the perfect example of this. He came to me exhausted, defeated. "Doctor, I've tried every diet," he said. "I've stopped eating rice, I've stopped sugar, but this belly doesn't move." He patted his stomach and smiled. Sadly, he wasn't just fighting fat, he was fighting time. I asked him to try the powder for 40 nights. Just that. He looked at me, skeptical, and said, "Doctor, I'll do it for you." Every week he'd send me short updates on WhatsApp. Sleeping better, less bloated, energy is up. But on day 38, he sent me a photo. He was standing straight, smiling wide. The difference was striking. His skin looked tighter, his jawline visible again, and the heavy look in his eyes had disappeared. I called him immediately. "What did you do differently?" He laughed. "Nothing, doctor. I just stopped punishing my body and started feeding it." His words hit me harder than any scientific report ever could. That's when I realized how emotional this journey truly was. Most people don't just want to lose fat, they want to feel like themselves again. They want their confidence back, their reflection back. The sagging skin, the tired face, the belly fat, those aren't just physical changes. They are emotional scars that remind people they've lost control. And when something as simple as a powder starts reversing that, it doesn't just fix the body, it heals the spirit. But let me be honest, it doesn't work like a fairy tale for everyone. One of my patients, a woman named Sima, didn't see results for 3 weeks. She was frustrated. "Doctor, it's not working for me," she said, almost crying. I looked at her reports and realized her sleep pattern was chaotic, only 4 to 5 hours a night, constant stress, late dinners. Her body wasn't entering the repair phase because it never reached deep sleep. I asked her to make one small change. Take the powder 1 hour before bed. No phone, no food, just silence and rest. She agreed hesitantly. 3 weeks later, she came back glowing. "Doctor," she said softly, "my skin looks different." My daughter said I look fresh for the first time in years. That moment taught me something priceless. The body doesn't respond to formulas, it responds to care. When you give it space to heal, it surprises you. I also learned that this powder doesn't just affect the body, it affects the mind. Many reported reduced anxiety, calmer sleep, and sharper focus. Scientifically, it made sense amino acids like glycine and glutamine help balance neurotransmitters, reducing cortisol, the stress hormone that drives fat storage and aging. It's as if your body whispers, "Thank you," when you give it what it's been missing. I remember one night sitting beside my own bed, holding the glass of powder in my hand, thinking about how far I'd come from being a tired doctor who couldn't fix himself to someone who finally understood the simplicity of healing. I took a sip, closed my eyes, and felt gratitude. I had spent years chasing big solutions, medications, procedures, expensive therapies, but the real solution was small, humble, almost too simple. Feed the cells what they need. Let the body do the rest. Weeks later, I decided to take this formula further. I collaborated with a small group of medical nutritionists to optimize the ratio of collagen to amino acids to vitamin cofactors. We ran micro-level tests to see how fast it absorbed, how much nitrogen retention it caused, and how it affected sleep cycles. The results were consistent when taken before sleep. It accelerated recovery and visibly changed skin texture and fat metabolism. We even noticed an unexpected benefit. People who had mild joint pain reported relief within days. That's when I realized this wasn't just about looks. Collagen and amino acids were rebuilding the invisible scaffolding that holds your body upright, your tendons, ligaments, and connective tissue. When those strengthen, you don't just look younger, you move younger. There was one patient I'll never forget, a 60-year-old teacher named Rubina. She used to sit across from me with her hands trembling slightly, her voice soft. "Doctor, I don't like to look in the mirror anymore," she said once. "I used to love dressing up. Now, I just avoid people." Her blood work showed low muscle mass and poor collagen markers. I gave her the powder and told her, "You'll see changes, but please be kind to yourself during the wait." After 2 months, she came back wearing bright colours, her eyes shining. She smiled. "Doctor, I don't know how to thank you. I feel like I'm getting my life back." And then she said something I'll never forget. "I didn't just lose fat, I found joy." That night, I realised what this journey had really been about. It wasn't about vanity or beauty or even fitness. It was about reclaiming something deeper, the human desire to feel alive in your own body again. And the more I learned, the clearer it became. The body doesn't age because time passes. It ages because we stop nourishing it the way it was designed to be nourished. You see, collagen and amino acids aren't foreign substances. They are the same molecules your body has been producing since the day you were born. But after your mid-30 seconds, production drops dramatically. Every year, you lose about 1% of your collagen. By 50, you've lost nearly 30%. That's when your skin sags, your belly grows, and your muscles feel weaker. But when you reintroduce these molecules in their right form, the body recognizes them instantly, like old friends returning home. Now, every time I meet a patient struggling with aging, fatigue, or stubborn fat, I tell them one thing: stop fighting your body, start feeding it. The results will follow. Because the secret to firm skin, lean muscles, and a youthful body isn't in punishment, it's in nourishment. Today, I continue to use that same Formula One scoop at night, a simple habit that has transformed my health. My energy is steady, my focus sharp, my skin firm, and my body strong. But more than that, I've found peace. I no longer chase results, I nurture them. Sometimes when I walk into my clinic early morning and see my patients waiting, smiling, confident, I realize something profound. Healing doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be consistent. Our bodies are capable of miracles when given the right tools. So if you've been staring into the mirror lately, wondering where your energy went, or if you've been struggling with stubborn fat, loose skin, or that heavy feeling that makes you dread mornings, I want you to remember this. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's waiting for you to feed it again, to trust it again, to believe in its ability to rebuild. Because when you give your body what it truly needs, collagen, amino acids, rest and care, it doesn't just repair overnight, it transforms. I've seen it happen, I've felt it happen, and now it's your turn to feel it too.